computer. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Kostas. I'm one of the impactors, as my colleague Samia is the godfather of the participants in any activity that this virtual exchange program is introducing. It's a great pleasure to have with us one of the souls of our project, the Impact Project, Professor Rhonda Sofer. She has a PhD in anthropology from Fairleigh Dickinson University, I suspect in the United States. She has served, the Erasmus project and the internationalization of Gordon College, the Gordon Academic College in Education in Israel from a lot of perspectives. Now she's the director of International Center at Gordon College of Education. She's very active. She has a lot of energy. I would like to name her, she moves and reacts very fast as an electron, in physics. So she's going to share with us her deep knowledge and deep experience on how to exploit European projects for more civic engagement. And civic engagement, at least in Europe right now, is one of the priorities, how we should enhance the relevance of the universities, what we are doing in the universities for the sake of the local, national, and international society. So the floor is yours, Rhonda. I would like also to thank Rhonda because she reacted very fast. We were planning another talk, but because of health issues, we have to move to this topic, which is very, very important. The floor is yours, Rhonda.
Okay, thank you very much. And let me just share. This is not what I want to share. I want to share this. My presentation. I'm actually going to talk about, first of all, I'm an anthropologist, an applied anthropologist, and strongly believing that through education you can bring change. My first encounter with Erasmus programs was actually designing and coordinating a major project that promoted diversity in children's rights and teacher training programs. It was a joint project. And I'm going to talk about two projects that I designed and coordinated that promoted active civic engagement of our students in Israel and in Georgia. Today, I'm the director of international project at Gordon College of Education, and my PhD is from Rutgers University of New Jersey, and my BEd is from Fairleigh Dickinson University. But anyways, both CURE and Do It. CURE was the curriculum reform for promoting democratic principles and civic education in Israel and in Georgia. Do It was a model for diversity and multicultural education in teacher training programs in Georgia and in Israel. Since then, we've been in like 5 different projects with the country of Georgia. They've been very successful. These projects, when I was, I'm an applied anthropologist, meaning that I'm not one of these armchair or ivory tower theoreticians. I believe in doing. And when you're talking about diversity, children's rights, civic engagement, democratic principles, it's not only the knowledge, it's the action. So when I was conceiving these programs and their aims and objectives, I say, okay, you have to have knowledge and you have to have academic studies, but you also have to find a way of making an impact in terms of action. So the programs that I developed were multidimensional. And the whole idea was that the curriculum reform must be innovative, not only in content, but in pedagogical methods and in results. Now, I think one of the greatest theoreticians in terms of education was John Dewey, because we're coming back to this. In the 19th century, he said, you learn through doing. And moreover, and I love this quote from him, he said, if we teach today's students as we were taught yesterday, we rob them of tomorrow. So the idea of teaching has to be moving forward and have to be innovative. And I tried very hard to do this. Now, even though both CURE and Do It were curriculum reform programs, it included student activities. Do It, which promoted diversity in children's rights and multicultural education, was a major Erasmus program, my first, 21 institutions, 7 countries, and it included 8 student unions organizations. And these 8 student unions, through the approach that we used, implemented 80 different community projects over the 3 years of our program. CURE was a more modest Erasmus capacity building project with only 17 institutions in 6 countries. We had 9 student unions, and they implemented over the 3 years 104 different community projects. So, you know, honestly, I don't care about the academics. The fact that we had these projects, our students in the community getting engaged, getting involved, that meant everything. That means everything. Now, when you want to promote important values such as diversity or civic education, as I said before, you have to move beyond the knowledge and values and connect with action. And so the challenge is, how do we design and implement a program such as an Erasmus program that the aim is not only knowledge and values, but it's, you know, how behavior, getting students out of the classroom and engaged in the community. So this is the structure of both Do It and CURE. We had courses, and thousands of students took our courses because we were a large consortium. And we piloted these courses, and the courses were integrated into our curriculum. If you're interested how you do that, I can talk about that in the end. We had student activities that promoted the values of the programs. We published learning materials, we ran faculty workshops. In other words, we had to train our faculty to run our courses and to use our innovative methods of teaching and learning. And that was also a very successful part of the program. We worked with in-service teachers through our continued professional development, and we were very successful in disseminating our program to other institutions. Now, students are important, but you have to also work with the faculty. So we try to have the faculty engage with our strategic model of promoting democratic principles and active civic involvement through their teaching and through the courses that we developed together. So they would have lifelong skills. It wasn't like, okay, you learn the course, that's it. These skills are transferable, and you can use them in any sort of course that you teach to engage students. But the most important part is designing the program so it includes students in an active way. I didn't want the students, you know, in a classroom, they're sort of passive recipients of the courses that are developed by academic faculty. I wanted the students to be leaders, to run programs, and not only like sit in the classroom and learn. I'm just trying to get this smaller, so okay, this is the best I can do. So we had leadership training, which motivated them, provided them with skills to design and implement and recruit other students and to run them in the community. Now, with the Do It program, which was a Tempest program, we had student activities, and they were very successful. But I felt when I was thinking about the CURE project, which promoted democratic principles and engaged civic activities, that we want this to be more sustainable. So how can we do this? So in the CURE project, the 9 academic institutions from Georgia and from Israel, they set up centers for civic and social action, so that after the life of the project, these centers will still be in existence, and they would organize student activities. Now, I think one of the biggest contributions and one of the most learning experience that I had was working through amazing NGOs. There was one in Georgia. An amazing woman was the leader. I think it was the civic engagement. I forgot the name of it, but it had to do with civic engagement in Georgia. And there was a member of Gordon College's faculty that worked for NGOs, but he became working for us. So he was part of our team, that he knew how to run leadership workshops. The methods that I will briefly explain, placemaking and World Cafe, that provided the students with the tools to get engaged in the community and be active. So, sometimes we forget that to involve students. In other words, my approach is students are the heart and soul of our institutions. I mean, there's so much emphasis in universities on publishing or perishing that we sort of forget that the students are why we are there, and they should be our focus. So I was very happy that I had this opportunity to design programs that really engage students, that they had a part in these programs that contributed to the achievement of project goals and aims. Now, I want to emphasize that the students are involved in the designing of their programs. We budgeted for them to come to consortium meetings. They were active and contributing members who were involved in contributing to project goals. It was a shot in the arm for the consortium. You can stop me anytime if you have a question. They would come to the meetings, and you see these young people, they had their workshops, but then we would interact with them. And it was like really inspiring to see the idea, first of all, the motivation and the commitment and the idealism that these students had. And it brought us all together. And for the students, it was an amazing experience that they could stand in front and present to the professors, so we would learn something. So it was an amazing sort of development of a consortium, and the relationship that we have, and which I talk about a lot, is called a culture of collaboration, that was linked students with teachers and professors, and then in the community. Wow, I didn't know I could do that. That was something that I've never done in a PowerPoint. I don't know how that happened. Anyways.
Rhonda, may I ask a question?
Sure.
How were the students chosen for these programs?
What
was the criteria?
They had to be, they were recommended by the faculty, or they're part of the student union. We turned to the president of the student unions. We presented the program, they recommended who would be part of the program. So we worked very closely with the student union, and the students had to be also good students. They had to know English, because the students were working together, the Israeli students and the Georgian students. So there were basic criteria that they had to meet, and each university had a selection process in which they selected the candidates to participate in these programs.
Was a language a factor? Language level, English language level?
Absolutely, they had to be able to, yes, because in order to connect with other students, they had to know English. Even though when it came to the student activities, since these were the leaders, the other students that participated in the program and implemented the program, they didn't have to know English, because we were working with student leaders. Okay.
There is a question on the chat to Rhonda, if all these activities, they were extracurricular.
Yes, but sometimes they were within the course our courses were very dynamic, and sometimes the assignment was to go out into the community and do something. So they were part of the grading system, but not all of them. Others were extracurricular, and I have some really meaningful stories as we go along. I will share them with you. But it's amazing when you engage the students, not as passive recipients of knowledge, but as active engagers of doing, where the project can go. It's really now, and again, I worked with amazing people. So the methodology that was used, I'm sorry that these things are getting in the way. learning by doing, there are two major processes, one called participatory placemaking, and I'll present it very, briefly in World Cafe. And sometimes the short-term action can inspire long-term change. And I'll give you an example when we get to the point, but in terms of the participatory placemaking, it starts with your story, then our story, then the values that come out of your story, how to make this connected to the local community, and then the project. Now, this is just, you can get this anywhere, but I felt it was important in case you weren't, you don't know what is placemaking. It's a community engagement approach that involves the community in sharing experiences, their needs and desires. So we had, let's say, Gordon students going into a community that was needed to have, that was known to of being, socially quiet, but needing, but with high risk children, and trying to engage the people there so they can talk about what they feel they need. You run workshops. In other words, it could be in the community center, it can maybe be in your institution where you brainstorm, you sit and you talk about different ideas, you make a collaborative design of what can be done, you test it, you implement it, and then you talk about maintaining it. In other words, and all this is not only with the students are involved in the community. So they engage people in the community that care, and they continue it. And you assess the project success by talking to community members and getting their feedback. So this is like the theoretical approach, and I'm going to show you some small video clips which talk about action. So in our first consortium meeting with the students, this is the work that they did. Each one sort of had a story. They talk about 3 religions on one street, or playing to a joyful childhood, or stealing apples. Like, they start talking about my story. They began talking about what sort of values do we want to promote, and to be active, diversity, social responsibility. These are all like the method of using a board and sort of thinking together. And then hearing inspiring stories of people that have implemented programs, and how they made a difference, and how then you can start thinking about what you want to do. And then this was combined with what they call the World Cafe, and I'll present the method later. They started talking about what they want to do. What are the dreams for change? And then they presented it to the professors, to us, to the people that are the consortium members. So here you have a professor sitting with students, and they're all listening and learning from one another. And from the first consortium meeting, we talked about what's going to happen in the second one, and already making plans for more action-oriented programs. The World Cafe, I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but it facilitates discussion. You set up tables in a very comfortable, relaxed cafe-like atmosphere, and you sort of sit and talk about ideas that are important to you, and then you switch from table to table, and then you see what ideas were talked about in this table, and you try to add to them, and you all sort of gain introspection. Some people stay in one place and other people move. It's a very you sort of collect these ideas. From these ideas you say, okay, what actions can we take? And then you start making real programs from the process. And so this is actually was what we did. The time is now. They went into disadvantaged communities and they ran programs. And I'm going to, in terms of the theory or the impact, we did a study of the effect on the students, and they said one of the best things about the student activities was peer learning, learning from one another. And the fact that they felt that without their professors in the room, that they felt more comfortable discussing very sensitive issues. And some of the feedback, and I'm going to give you, I will give you examples. From Israel, a student said, we studied together men, women, Arab and Jews, immigrants and native, straights and gays. We didn't know about each other at all. DO-IT's programs allowed us to start to learn about our friends' culture so we can continue the connection between us. Now, I remember one night that I took the students from Israel to Georgia because we were writing the handbook. The students also wrote a handbook about their activities and how they implemented them. And so I said, we're going to go to Georgia for 1 week for intensive work. And we went to one of the outlying universities, which served a lot of the minorities. And I remember that we were in this very little hotel. And, you know, because of my age, I go to sleep early because I get up early. But I couldn't help sitting inside, but hearing my Arab students and my Israeli students and my Georgian students having this really fascinating discussion. And for some of the Arab students, they say, you know, this is the first time that we're speaking to really on this level to Jewish Israeli students. And it just so happened that one of our students was a homosexual, and that just blew their mind that, you know, how can he be normal and still be a student? Like, it opened their eyes, and it was an amazing learning experience. For the Georgians, they said, usually we have problems communicating with them, that's the minorities, because they live with other groups, sometimes divided. We do not connect very well. We do not have awareness of how to connect and communicate with them. This project taught us a lot about what to do, how to communicate, and how to learn from each other. So the students themselves got a lot of it. And again, as equal members of the community and of the consortium, I had them work with me on 2 handbooks. One was from DO-IT, was for promoting intercultural relations and understanding on university campuses through student activities. And for CURA was engaging students to be active citizens in their community. So these were done with the students, and the NGO leaders helped me with these books, but it was an amazing experience also for them to take part in preparing such a handbook. Now, one of the most important aspects of the programs that I coordinated was that I'm so much against the ivory tower. I don't think the academics should sit in this ivory tower and be removed from the community. So these programs that I designed connected our program with a wider community. And I'll give you 2 examples from Georgia of 2 different universities. In Ilias State University, they are around 20 kilometers from a displaced camp of hundreds of thousands. I think in this one was like 20,000 people living in this camp that were displaced because of the Russian-Georgian war in 2008. And they started working with the internally displaced children from these that were from religious minorities. And they established a reading club. They donated books, and they went to set up libraries and help the children learn how to read Georgian so they could be better integrated into the society. And this program continues today, 10 years after the life of the project. We have Ilias State University students working with these children in this community, in this camp, and helping them in different sort of projects. Now, Tel Aviv State University blew me away because they are in a area that you have some Kist, which are ethnic Muslims, villages. And these youth were disenchanted, and some of them were turning to ISIS. So the students decided, first of all, there was 2 aspects to this program. First, the Kist students at the university were sort of not integrated into the university life. So the first mission of this of my Do It program was to get the students more integrated into university life. And they did this through some students who were Keist and co-opted them to help create activities that their students would feel comfortable attending. And they were very successful. And then they learned about problems in the villages. And they decided to go into the village and work with the youth there. Now, they didn't tell me this while I was writing my final report and only after it was submitted, but they then confessed that they created an NGO because of this project, Do It, that now whose goal was to work in these Kist villages with the youth, helping to engage them, keep them in schools, provide them with positive activities so they would not go into illegal activities, ISIS, drugs, or whatever. So, and I would never, you'd never think that from your Erasmus program, the students themselves would create an NGO. So that's was really blew me off my chair. And I said, you should have told me that before I finished the final report. But anyways, it's nice to know. Now I want to show you, now you have to tell me whether this is shown or not. The activities of this in action, okay? Now let me just see, shrink this, not escape. Okay, I have to shrink everything. I have to move this up here. Okay, very good. Okay, so I want to show you an example of community placemaking at work. And it happened at Givat, Washington, which is the first time this university participated in Erasmus project. It's a religious college, also affected by the war, but here. This is. You hear the background music or no?
No, because you have to, when you share the.
Okay, I'm going to stop share. I'm going to share again.
The sound as well.
Okay, share. I'll eventually learn how to do this. Now, where does it say share with sound?
I mean, before you share.
Okay, stop share.
Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Press share now, and on the left down corner.
Oh, share. Yep. Share
Sound.
sounds. Okay. Okay, share. Okay.
That's
Okay, so this is one example. Not this one. Let me just. Close this. Okay. Now I have another example of and so here we see action of students that got together to make the campus look better. In other words, to get involved on campus and make it look differently. This is an example from another college, our Arab college that was in the program, Sakhnin. And I was a stickler. You have to have the logos, you have to have the disclaimer, and it's all there.
Waiting for
just, I closed it. No, wait, I don't want to close this. Wait, I want to shrink this. Okay, I want to shrink this. Okay, go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. And just so you can understand the impact that this project, one of the projects made, but this is, we had a field monitoring visit physically by the project officer. And she wrote this, that they confirmed that Do It project remains highly relevant to all partners involved in the project, as well as to the higher educational system in Israel as a whole. All partners met in the field monitoring visit expressed their overwhelming enthusiasm about the project and the level of importance it's had for its institutions. They showed exemplary ownership over the project, are extremely enthusiastic about its progress and the benefits it has for the various stakeholders involved in the project. The involvement of students in the project is especially noteworthy, and their work appears to be greatly advancing multiculturalism in the partners' institutions. So this is like a wow. This was acknowledged and validated by Brussels, who did an intensive field monitoring of the project. And one of my last slides is that, but even is, I do have impact here, so don't worry, is that great things can happen when you actively involve students. And I have another video clip to show you, and then almost ending the thing. And I showed it in my last talk, but for those of you who weren't here, it's worth seeing. And as far as I'm concerned, whenever I'm depressed, I look at this video clip and it makes me feel, okay, my life has had meaning. So let's picture in picture, full screen, playing. And this was done by the early childhood education students, first year students.
אתה לבן, אני שחור, אני חשוך, אתה באור שמחמם כמו אמא ושדואג לך. אתה קטן, אני גדול, אני רוצה, אתה יכול לרקוד, לצעוד קדימה, להיות שלם בין אנשים, ואולי יבוא יום ונהפוך שווים. אתה תהיה לי נחל ואני לך ימים, ונזרום ביחד עד אין סוף, שנייה לפני שקו החוף מגיע, שנייה לפני שקו החוף מגיע. אני בוכה, אתה צועק, אני טועה, אתה צודק, זאת ההצגה שלנו, ואין קהל ואין במה, אולי נשב ננוע, אתה, אני, וגם תחלוף הרוח, ויעברו השנים, ואולי יבוא יום, ונהפוך שווים. אתה תהיה לי נחל ואני לך ימים, ונזרום ביחד עד אין סוף, שנייה לפני שקו החוף מגיע, שנייה לפני שקו החוף מגיע, ואולי יבוא יום ונהפוך שווים. אתה תהיה לי נחל ואני לך ימים, ונזרום ביחד עד אין סוף, שנייה לפני שקו החוף מגיע, ונהפוך שווים.
Maybe
אתה
one day we'll
תהיה
come
לי
and we'll all be equal.
נחל ואני לך ימים, ונזרום ביחד עד אין סוף, שנייה לפני שגם החוף מגיע, שנייה לפני שגם החוף מגיע.
These were the students that produced it. Our first year early childhood educational students with the logos that they have to have and the people that were involved. Okay, there's my stop share. Okay, wait, there's one more slide. And then the song in the background, if you understand the Hebrew, is really, really meaningful, because the song is about maybe a day will come and we'll all be equal. So it's a very powerful song that goes with this production. And I remember when the students were preparing it, first of all, I was busy running from one place to another, and one of the faculty members says, "Rhonda, you got to see what these students are doing." I said, "Oh, if it's okay, I don't have time." They said, "No, come in." And I walked in and I saw one of the parts of this, and I was just blown over. I couldn't believe that, our students were so inspired. It was their idea, it was their production, it was their filming, and it was their message that they wanted to give. They wanted to give this message, and unfortunately, we need this message more today than ever before. But let me just go back to sharing now, and I'll finish up my talk, and I have time for questions. Escape. Wait, I have to close this like this. Okay. Now, this is part of the impact program, because the impact also promotes civic engagement, and they do this through their soft skills courses and emphasis with communication skills, leadership, teamwork, problem solving, work ethic, adaptability, emotional intelligence, time management, creativity, conflict resolution. So this is a new project not a new, it's now been running not yet a year. Has it been a year, Costas? Just not yet a year. Meanwhile, the courses which will unite our students from different countries will hopefully also create an opportunity for them to work together and implement programs in their community that promote these sort of skills. So I'm finished, and if you have any questions, please ask. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Rhonda, for this very nice presentation and very inspirational. I have questions, but I will provide the floor first to the audience. I can see, good
Jennifer.
comments, very nice comments on the chat. So if there are any questions, please raise your virtual hand. Otherwise, I can start the discussion from my side. 1, 2, 3. So I have to start the discussion and the reflection. First of all, thank you very much. I think that it was very inspirational and provide, some ideas that we can do. However, the impact is a virtual exchange, so we need to combine the face-to-face activities with this blended, that we are running right now, for people to travel and, face-to-face to organize things. But also we have other, plans also to interact with students, however, virtually. But this is not the limited factor. I have the first question. You mentioned at the beginning of your project, this is a capacity building project, no? I cannot see, however, where is the engagement of the European experts? Because you talk about Israelis and the Georgians, and I cannot see where is the expertise, comes, from Europe, and who were the European partners, and
For the first project, first of all, since it was a key action to capacity building for higher education, the beneficiary institutions were Georgia and Israel.
I asked about the expertise.
Right. Now the Europeans were part of the program for, first of all, we had an NGO that was from Europe that worked with our students, with the other NGOs, in other words. And then in the course development, part of it is for curriculum reform. We had different working teams for the different courses, 5 different courses. And the Europeans were involved in the development of the courses with the team. The quality assurance team was made up of the Europeans to help us with the learning outcomes, the ETCSs, and the European way of organizing a syllabi. And they also are experts, were experts in some of the courses that we were developing. So they were the quality check, academic quality check on the curriculum part. This was a curriculum reform program.
So first of all, I would like to ask, more questions now generated. So the Europeans expert one, it was an NGO. So I suspect that it's an NGO with an expertise in civic engagement.
Right.
You mentioned something about link with ECTS, so you should have some universities, and the ECTS will be linked with the Israeli system, which is not ECTS, and the system in Georgia, which is not ECTS. So
now it's ETCS. This is Georgia.
It's in Georgia. Very nice.
Yeah, they went over.
So
yes.
What are these universities like? What was the main input? Like the ECTS, there is a conversion.
They worked with. In other words, none of the courses were one-person courses. We sat down together the first year. We had courses in wait, I'll tell you. I mean, now
Which universities did they participate in this project?
We had 5, at the first one, we had 4 or 5 universities from, we had 3 or 4 universities from, 2 from England, 1 from Austria, 1 from Germany, and there was another country, Netherlands. So we had 5 European universities. They were divided, their team went into the working teams that developed the courses, the classes. In other words, we had a template that they had to, what were going to be the units in this course. And if you have a course on the first one,
children's rights.
Children's rights in and out, children's rights in and out of education. So we had those members of Europe working with the Israelis and the Georgians. We had an integrated team. We decided what chapters needed to be in this course. What are the units? How do we approach these units? Each unit, not only the syllabi, what sort of activities will strengthen?
This course was optional in your university, or is it mandatory?
These were piloted. I didn't want
piloted as an optional, or because you mentioned that these courses should be accredited for the curriculum development.
In Israel and Georgia, we were required. In Israel and Georgia, we were required to pilot a certain amount of courses. The Europeans weren't required, but some decided to run these courses because they felt they were so good.
So it was like at the end of the project, you had some accredited courses as an optional, or as a
we had 5 accredited courses, and they were integrated into our learning system, some as electives, some the way that we in terms of designing these courses, and I defined this in the application, they're according to different sort of modules or units. And if it was difficult to bring in a new course into a university, they could take the units and integrate them into an existing course that was to upgrade, to modernize that course. So, for example, in Georgia, one of the universities, in order to get a new course, you have to go through an academic committee, and it's a long process. But they said if you don't make more than, you can make up to 60% changes without going through the committee. So we had units that could be plugged in to existing courses, and it was so successful. So this is why in let's see, I have a slide
the
that
departments that they have been involved in your universities are what departments of psychology? What is like the department?
they were the Faculty of Education.
Faculty of Education. Thank you. And before I will go to impact, I would like to
one more thing. If you remember, there was something called SMS, the Special Mobility Training in Erasmus, that was for a few years.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember this myself.
Okay, in other words, it was a special program to add extra mobility for training. It was very hard to get, I think, and Bakure got this. And we trained over 100, and each of the European institutions offered training in their specialty. So Georgians and Israelis sent 2 faculty members to European universities to learn their methods, whether it was value and knowledge education or community placemaking. So we were trained in each of the universities. So that's also how we use the Europeans.
And
Everybody gets integrated into
this
my
is much
projects.
different, you know. I mean, I'm asking these questions because the capacity buildings that I have been engaged and I have coordinated, it was heavier, you know. The curriculum, it was like, you know, it's something different. That's why I'm asking.
I didn't talk about the curriculum here. I could have talked about the courses that were developed and the design and provide syllabi and talk about, you know, we had over 5,000 students benefiting just from the courses of CURE. No, that was Do It. In CURE, we had about the same amount, 5,000 plus students. And we had, you know, like.
How did you measure? You had how many activities? Civic activities?
We had 80 activities in Do It and 104 in CURE.
All right. And how did you select the modules or the courses to be engaged? Because you mentioned something about children's rights. This was the main module that you have developed one module entitled Children's Rights.
No, we developed, let's see if I can never get the.
You have to remove the background because the background.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
children's rights.
So,
I can see.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Oh.
So you developed the main outcome. It was
We sat down with the first year, Costas, my team was thinking, working, and doing. And so with this and I have all of our books on PDF, but this is one the Children's Rights in and Through Education.
Yeah,
it's a learning manual for teachers, and it has different units with a bibliography that's probably has to be updated because this was a project that went 7-8 years ago. But you know, Gordon took the course and then it changed it to online. So more students could take it, you know, so it was
clear for me.
We gave the flexibility to.
I have a question for you. I mean, how you can integrate, because on my mind, this is possible, very possible. How you can integrate the activities, the experience that you had, you know, through the Do It and the other projects for the impact. So I can give you the floor, all this experience to engage the impact students. I have not seen your students. So my next question is like, what is the profile of your students? But, you know, how we can leverage all these activities in order to do similar activities, initiate it online, and then check, you know, the students, what they are doing in the campus.
Yeah. The concept of impact is a bit different than my concept, because this is virtual. Impact is virtual exchange. But I would stick with what Dewey said, and also what Alport said back in 1950. If you want to connect people, you have to connect people through common activities that they connect with. In other words, if within our courses there are joint activities which have our students from Israel working with your students from Greece, or the students from Italy that I see our partners was here from Italy, I don't know if he's still here, or from Morocco, our friends from Morocco, then this is the best way of promoting, you know, this sort of engagement.
So I would request from your side, if you can send to me, I suspect that I can find it because this should be open access, this handbook of intercultural development through the students' activities. I would like to
I'll give you the link to both of the handbooks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this talk, Rhonda. I kept a lot of notes, so I think that it will be very useful.
Okay, any other questions?
Any other questions from the audience?
Okay, it's not a good sign when nobody has questions.
I had more. I can.
And when people.
Monica.
Okay.
Monica, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the talk. It was really interesting. What I didn't get, probably because I don't have a lot of knowledge about the Impact Project and other projects, is, if I understand correctly, this was not a virtual experience, right? It
No.
was, so how was it organized? Where did the students meet? Technically.
Technically, each consortium, like, in other words, I had 5 consortium meetings, and they ran not for 2 days, they ran for 5 days,
Okay.
which meant the students were there for 7 days, because you come a day before and a day, you stay 2 days, So, so they met in the consortium meetings, and then they,
Did they meet in Georgia first and then in Israel and the other way around?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was
Okay,
a
I get it.
really amazing experience, and I bump into my students today that are now, some of them most of them are teachers, but they remember this whole process and what it meant to them and how it gave them tools to work with their own teaching and learning.
And were they all in early childhood education?
No.
Students? No. Okay.
It would just happen that we got this group to think about, and and again, it was like an eye opener for everybody, because the early childhood educators, and usually out of those that are learning education, aren't thought of as the brightest students, but they were amazing, and I've changed my whole attitude for a lot of disciplines, including early childhood education. Just beautiful students.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I have one more question. Rhonda, you mentioned that you have impact, 8,000 students.
We impacted more. If I have the chart, wait, let me just.
No, I'm not interested about this. How did you measure the impact to such a great?
No, in terms of courses, how many students took the courses? So
Sure.
over 5,000 students took courses, in one program, and 4,800 took courses. We had 21 institutions and so it's not like a small consortium. And the Israelis and Georgians had to run at least 3 courses, and so the numbers weren't hard to reach. And then the courses were great courses. The students wanted to take them. They were innovative. They never learned, like in Georgia, this is the first time they had courses like this. So it was like really inspiring for them.
So let's launch, such a course about human rights, let's say, for our students as a joint project. I mean, I will think. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
Yes, Rhonda. Yes, Rhonda. If you had the chance to start this project from the beginning, would you choose another student population or another country to partner with? Because as far as I know, Georgia has a different population from Israel. So I assume that the similarities are more than the similarities. I went there once, so I don't know how you handle it and what challenges has it created.
You know what, Samia, when you're dealing with a project that's supposed to promote multiculturalism and diversity, you don't want the same, you want different. And when with my first project, which was Do It, and I had the Georgians, people were saying, oh, aren't you afraid they're going to be the weak link in the chain and blah, 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 blah. They ended up being so enthusiastic. We weren't even supposed to have these courses integrated into the curriculum into year 3. And at the end of year 1, when the courses were already ready, Sukhumi State University came to me and said, Rhonda, we're already building a new program that will integrate these courses into the program. Do I have your permission to go forward with this? So it's like, I said, do it, fine, great. In other words, I found, and I've been in 5 projects now with Georgia, that it's an amazing country to work with, amazing people. I've only had positive things to say about them. And, of course, now I'm treated like a queen when I go there. They have great wine also. So you can, if you like wine.
In Greece, we don't like Georgians because they have disqualified us before 2 days from the Euro. So they are nice people. Anyhow,
they're lovely people. They're lovely. In terms of hospitality, and this is the one country that I'm not afraid to say I'm from Israel when I go there. because they like Israelis.
Yeah, and it's a
uh,
destination now. Like it's becoming a destination for students who travel abroad to pursue academic studies, study medicine and other subjects.
Okay, so if this is the case and we have no more questions, I think
Any
that
more
we should
questions?
stop here. We would like to thank Rhonda for this presentation. As I told you, I think that this presentation can initiate, a couple of initiatives through impact and the integration of the BIPs. And I would like to thank you for your participation. The recording sessions, they are going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel where you can follow the other talks. I think that we are going to renew our meeting for next week with another impact talk for teachers and how we can integrate nice ideas, into our impact project. So thank you and speak to you next week. For the people that you are going to celebrate Easter, I would like to wish you happy Easter and see you in a week. Thank you, Rhonda, and the participants. Bye.
And you should know, just on a personal note, that the Vita is now home, so that's nice to know.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay,
for your
bye-bye.
passion. I have to say this.
What?
For your passion,
Oh.
not for teaching,
Listen.
not only for Georgian wine that you have disseminated so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Bye.
take care, bye-bye.